Welcome back, everyone. In the last 24 hours, $40 billion just vanished from the crypto market. Gone just like that. Bitcoin dropped below $76,000. Ether, XRP, BNB, everything bled red. And here is the crazy part. This is not random. This is not a hack. This is a pattern. Crypto markets have now sold off before each of the last 9 Fed meetings. 8 out of 9 times, Bitcoin dropped after, no matter what the Fed actually said. But tomorrow is different. Because tomorrow, Jerome Powell gives his final press conference as Fed chair. This is his last dance. And his words could send crypto flying too. Today, I'm going to break down why $40 billion just left the market, what Powell is likely to say, and the exact levels you need to watch. Let's get into it. First, let me give you the numbers from the last 24 hours. The total crypto market capitalization fell 1.8% to $2.62 trillion. That is a loss of nearly $40 billion in a single day. Bitcoin dropped as low as 75, floating around 76,000 to $76,800. Ethereum lost almost 2%, trading around $2,283. XRP fell 2.2% to $1.37. And BNB slipped 0.7%. Now here is what you need to understand. This sell-off is not because something fundamentally broke in crypto. It is because traders are de-risking before the Fed meeting tomorrow. And this has happened before. In fact, it has happened before 9 times in a row. Here is a pattern that every crypto trader needs to know. Crypto markets have now drifted lower in the 24 hours before each of the last 9 Fed decisions. And more importantly, Bitcoin has dropped after 8 of those 9 meetings, regardless of what the Fed actually said or did. Why does this happen? Because traders hate uncertainty, and Fed days are full of uncertainty. Nobody knows exactly what Powell will say. Nobody knows whether he will sound hawkish or dovish. So traders take money off the table and wait on the sidelines. Then, after the announcement, they decide whether to jump back in. Tomorrow is the same, but with a massive twist. Here is why tomorrow is not just another Fed meeting. Jerome Powell is delivering his final press conference as Fed chair. Kevin Warsh takes over in mid-May. This is Powell's last dance. The rate decision itself, boring. CME Group's FedWatch tool shows a 100% probability that rates will stay exactly where they are, 3.5% to 3.75%. Nobody cares about the rate decision. Everyone cares about Powell's words. This is his final opportunity to shape how the market views the economy, to signal whether the Fed is ready to cut rates this summer, to hint at what comes next. As one analyst put it, and I quote, "Wednesday isn't just a rate decision, it's Powell's final press conference. Every word will carry extra weight." If Powell signals that rate cuts are coming, Bitcoin could finally break. If he doubles down on inflation vigilance, markets could drop hard. And here is the other thing putting pressure on crypto. Oil prices just jumped above $111 per barrel. Why the Strait of Hormuz? That is the narrow waterway where 20% of the world's oil passes through. President Trump has told aides to prepare for an extended U.S. naval blockade of the strait. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has claimed full control and proposed imposing transit fees. The U.S. has responded by banning anyone from paying those fees. Trump also rejected Iran's latest proposal, saying nuclear issues must come first before any deal on the strait. So what does oil at $111 mean for crypto? Higher oil prices fuel inflation. Inflation pressures the Fed to keep rates higher for longer. higher rates are bad for risk assets like Bitcoin. This is the dark cloud hanging over tomorrow's Fed meeting. Now, before you panic, let me give you the other side of the story. Yes, we had outflows yesterday. $263 million left US spot Bitcoin ETFs, breaking a 9-day inflow streak. But here is what the headlines won't tell you. Strategy Inc., formerly MicroStrategy, bought another $255 million in Bitcoin this past week. The outflows on Monday were likely a classic liquidity event, forced liquidations of leveraged longs, not institutions suddenly changing their minds. As one analyst put it, the outflow was a tactical liquidity event, not a reversal of the underlying accumulation. Translation: the big money is still buying the dip. Let me give you the exact levels to watch. The first key support is $75,500. That is the 20-day exponential moving average and the bottom of the rising channel. If that breaks, the next level is $74,000, and this is the big one. Analyst S. Jewel from Alt Crypto Gems says this is, quote, one of the most important weeks for BTC in months. On the upside, the immediate resistance is $78,000. There are about 335,000 Bitcoin sitting in that zone, overhead supply. 80,000 and Runto 86,000. If he doubles down on inflation vigilance, we could test $74,000 or lower. Tomorrow decides the next move. What do you think Powell will say tomorrow, bullish or bearish? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next video. Trade safe. Bye.